Hi there everybody, it's Rarity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another card making video. We are using the Thankful Garden set today. This has coordinating dies and decorative masks, so we can colour our image. Really nice set, and a couple of nice greetings in there too. I've not actually used this on camera before, so this is an online exclusive released a couple of months back. There was lots of buzz about it, but as I haven't actually worked with it yet with you guys, so we're bringing that in today, and I'm bringing that together with an old favourite, which is the perennial postage dies, just to add some interest. Okay, so that's what we're using. And then just a little funny story in that my colour combination today that I'm working with is Daffodil Delight, Fresh Freesia and Lemon Lime Twist. Not colours I'd normally put together. I'm not really generally a fan of yellow or anything, but I was maybe, you know, just snacking on some little chockies on my while I was working away, and I had some little sort of, you know, sugar shell coated mint chocolate thingies, and they happened to be these colours, and they were just looking at me in their little packet and stuff, and I thought, oh, those are quite nice colours, so that's why I chose the colours that I have done today. Okay, so inspiration is all around us, and it happened to talk to me in these little sweeties that I had on my desk, so that's what we're using. Okay, so I think it's clear I've used the Daffodil Delight as the card bases here, with Fresh Freesia coming in, and then obviously the Lemon Lime Twist for the foliage, and a bit of black ink just for those for the sentiment there. And I just like this perennial postage set, really. I think it's really cute, something really nice and bright and cheerful, and something different with the flowers. So these are obviously designed to be hydrangeas, and they're often sort of bluey purpley colours, so you know, you don't have to stick with what's the norm, if you like. So out there and use some colours. Okay, so I've not done the outline stamp on these as well. I'm just using the decorative masks. Okay, so we're going to do a variation on this, not an exact replica, because you know how I like to give you different options. Okay, so I'm going to pop that to one side, and we're going to get cracking on doing the stenciling. So just got some scrap paper just to protect my desk, and some basic white. The stencils or masks have both images on the mask at the same time. Now, your eyes do not deceive you, this is not a clean mask. I have not cleaned this off since I made my samples, and I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so the florals are going to be in obviously the Fresh Freesia and the Daffodil Delight, but this time I want the Daffodil Delight to be the main colour, whereas I used the Fresh Freesia more on the original. Okay, so I'm going to have both of these ink pads open. Just here I'm going to have a bit of scrappy dap, just to make sure I can, you know, take off some of the ink if I want to. Okay, so they're just off to the side here, and then I'm just going to bring in my blending brushes. So I've got one for each colour that I'm using, and like I say, I want the daffodil to be the sort of standout colour. Okay, using a bit of low tack tape just to help keep things in place and hold things down. Okay, just so that my fingers don't hurt, really. No other reason other than that. So it's just to help me keep that in place. So I'm just going to go with some Freesia just in the centre of these flowers, and I'm just going to go quite light with that. Okay, so this base layer going to be the lighter layer on our project. and again just sort of in the middle here and there on this one. I don't want too much, but I just want a hint of it coming through in the middle, and then we'll switch to the daffodil. And again, I'm just taking off a little bit of the ink on that scrap paper that I've got off to the side there, and we'll bring that in. Okay, so oops, almost in the wrong pad. In fact, I might put those up there, that might be easier, and I'm less likely to make a mistake. And then I'm bringing in the daffodil from the outside in. So purple and yellow are opposite each other on the colour wheel, so you will end up with a bit of mud if you're not too careful. Okay, so just go easy when you're bringing those colours together. Just want a hint of it in the centre. It sort of deepens the yellow and gives us a different look. Okay, so that's mask number one. So we're going to peel that away and to one side, and then we're going to bring in number two. Okay, and we're just going to line that up. It's really easy to line up. I haven't marked where this goes, so just look for those white bits and cover them up. So again, just a bit of the freesia in the middle, where that the sort of centre of the flower will be, if you like. A bit harder with the sort of hydrangea thing, because there's sort of like little tiny flowers that make like a ball, aren't they? Just go with it. It doesn't have to be super accurate to nature. Like I say, just do what you feels right. And again, we'll come in with the yellow from the outside. That's possibly a little heavy on that bottom petal, but that's fine. Okay, so this is going to look completely different to our sample card. And again, I'm not trying to overlap that purple too much in the middle. Okay, a bit hard on this one because it's so small. That'll probably do for that one, so we'll just lift that one up. It's starting to take shape now. I'll clean all the masks off at the end. It's water-based ink, it'll come off really, really easy. If it doesn't come off with plain water, you can just use some like, you know, washing liquid or whatever, just a little bit. It's a plastic material, but yeah, absolutely fine. So again, just to shove the freesia in the middle of these ones. You could use the smaller blending brush if you feel you want to as well. Touch in the middle of this one. Okay, and then back in with that Daffodil Delight. Okay, it's actually quite, even though it's in the brights, this can look quite dark once you layer it all up. And certainly with the freesia, it almost gives it, dare I say, the look of wild wheat that's just left us. So quite interesting. So I'm just trying to avoid that central portion, just go around the edge on this one. So because this is the last one, we'll just take a peek just to see. Yeah, happy with that. That's fine. That looks cool. Okay, so we've just got a bit of variation in the colour of those florals rather than them just being a single colour. Okay, so we'll pop away the freesia and the daffodil, and we'll bring in the lemon lime. This is I think this is a Marmite colour. It's a bit on the acidic side for me, but but you know, colour is a very personal thing, so you can switch these out for colours that you prefer if this isn't quite your cup of tea. But what I'd like to sort of emphasize, if you like, is that you don't have to just stick with single colours, and you don't have to kind of conform with what you might expect, if you know what I mean. So just doing this first layer quite light. It'll be a bit heavier at the tips of these leaves here. Just to give it a bit of dimension. Okay. If we lift that off, you'll see, hopefully. It looks quite pretty just as it is. But then the final one that we've got just adds the detail, has like sort of veins to those leaves. So again, just cover up your white bits. Generally speaking, that one needs a white bit, but that looks about right. And again, don't worry too much if the alignment's slightly off. Artistic license, that's called. And then this one, where we're going to go a touch heavier. The ink layers up anyway, so it will naturally get a bit darker. Again, I want the tips of those leaves to be darker than the rest, and you can sort of scrape in the ink off the stencil a little bit. And again, you might want to switch to one of the smaller brushes if you want to get into a little bit more detail on those. And of course, if you only want to do one of the flowers, you can mask off this other portion so it doesn't you don't get ink onto the larger piece of card. It's kind of nice that you can sort of do two at a time. Bit of a time saver if you want to do a batch of cards for a fete or something like that. I'll do a bit more down here just to round it a little bit. Okay, I think that's going to look good. Yep, happy with that. That's cool. Right, tape we can reuse. You see how it's sort of gone off the edges here, but this is just a cut down piece, so I don't mind. Okay, but obviously if that was a bigger piece and you didn't want to get it everywhere, you can just use sticky notes or something like that to protect it. And then I've put my brushes down right on top of my dies that I need. So let's just pop those out the way over there, move that out the way. And I don't need this anymore. So we can die cut this out. So I was a little worried that these were going to be too close together to die cut at the same time, but they are far enough away, which is also excellent, which means we can get these both die cut at the same time. So again, just lining those key points up. I usually aim for a stem and a leaf and then just check the top, make sure that looks like it's in place. Same with this one, we'll do the stem, make sure those leaves look like they're lined up, top of that petal. Yep, that's good. Okay, so this can now go through the die cut machine, and if you were sensible you'd cut it to the right width, but I don't think they would fit side by side anyway, so that's fine. I can do that. That might have shifted a little bit, but I'm not going to worry about it. So this is sort of you know, what we're looking at sort of creating, or a variation thereof. I'm going to do something a bit different with the background. just to see how it looks, just to give you another idea. Oops. There we go. So those can come out of there and we can tidy these up later. And these are ready to go. Aren't they pretty? Okay, and they do look very different to the originals. Okay, these guys are going to need to go up onto dimensionals, so let's open a new sheet of these. Okay, and I'm just going to put 3 on there and 3 on here. You don't have to smother this in dimensionals at all. There's just some anchor points just to keep it in place, so they're ready to go. I'm actually going to use white card bases this time, okay, for the card base. I already cut 2 of this size. Now on the original, where's my dies gone? So in the perennial postage, there's lots of different sizes of the dies. So on the original I used this one, the second largest one, as the background, and then it's this one that I've used for the sentiment. I've already cut those out already as well, so they're already cut out, ready to go for the sentiment, which I can leave out. But we're going to do something a little different, so I've used this one, which is the largest one that isn't sort of full frame, if you like, to do something a little different with the layout. And it might work, it may not work. And on the original sample I layered that with the fresh freesia, so we're going to layer this one with Daffodil Delight to mix that up a little bit. So I'm going to use some Stampin' Seal, because these are a bit of a funny measurement, these things, these die cuts, right? So what I'm actually going to do is stick it to the cardstock here. Okay, just lining that one up in the corner. I'm going to give myself a little bit of space between those and just line that up with that top border, and we're going to use our trimmer to trim these out. Okay, so I'm just going to push myself back on my chair a little bit. So we know where the cutting track is on our trimmer, and if you've got a different one, you'll know where yours is. And basically I want the sort of edge of the white cardstock to sort of line up on the left hand side of the cutting track here, so if when the blade goes past, it's going to create me a nice even border. Good scrap to use for another time. Okay, there's my even border. Okay, I'm going to rotate that round now and repeat that, and hopefully my 2 pieces are reasonably straight. So I'm just going to line that up just to the left hand side of that cutting track, and they look reasonably straight, so I'm going to go for it. Another decent scrap to use. Okay, and now we just need to do the cuts from the middle. So again, I'm lining up this one with the left hand side of that cutting track. Beautiful. And we'll twist that round and do exactly the same, lining up the white to the left hand side of that cutting track and cutting that little tiny strip off. Okay, not such a useful scrap, recycle. Okay, so now I've got 2 of those panels cut and ready to go. Now we've got to work out how we're going to use them on our card. Okay, so by the way, my scraps, so this is in the Brights family, so I have one of these little photo boxes that I've got just labelled with a permanent marker, and my little teeny scraps go in there. Okay, so if I just need something quick and little to die cut, it goes in there. You can get them in 5x7 as well. Okay, on the, you know, the online shop that sells everything. Okay, you can find these. So we have these, we have our card base. So let's have a look. Oh, tell you what we'll do as well before we start messing about with layout. We'll stamp our sentiment on there. We're just going to use Memento ink. I'm going to bring in that pop of black. Where did the stamp go? There it is. Got it. So we'll get that inked up. Normally I would stamp and then die cut, but the honest truth is this was cut from the tiniest scrap of cardstock, and there was no way I was going to be able to make sure that was stamped and have room to die cut. So I've opted to do it this way, and with photopolymer stamps you stand more of a chance of actually getting it lined up correctly because you can see through it. Oh, just put my finger in the ink as I lifted that. Yeah, okay, I'm just going to go with it. We're going to pretend we didn't just smudge the ink. There we go. Just a little bit of ink on the edge of the ink pad as I pick that up. Okay, there we go. So there's our two sentiments. Let's pop that away before there's another mishap. Right, let's just make sure that's not going to transfer anywhere. Right. So we have card base, we have layers, we have sentiments. Don't know whether I want them this way or that way yet. Okay, and I've got a blob to cover up. Okay, I also use some twine on the other one as well, just to add some texture. So I think this would be really cool just to sort of have like it peeking out. Like so. Or you go with my original design and have something that actually frames it entirely, which probably is the better choice. This is not sliding around on the card, which is annoying me. Right, then this will go in. It's just going to peek out, and I just want those like fun mixtures of texture throughout that. Okay, that looks nice. That looks nice, and I've got to bring in the freesia as well. Okay. So on my other cards, did I leave them all on the? Yeah, I did. Just looking at how I want to put this one on. Is it going to be the same? I think it will be the same, but I've got this sort of vacant spot here. So I think that one's going to look better a bit like that. Okay. Cool. There we go. So I think we're going to go with something like that. Now, sometimes you can move away and then you forget how you're going to compose things. So if I wasn't filming, I could take a picture of that and then just make sure that I've replicated what I wanted to do with that. I'm thinking about bringing in the twine like I did before, or you could also bring in some ribbon or something, but we don't have any I don't think we've got any fresh freesia ribbon in the catalogue at the moment. I do have some retired stuff. Okay, so if you had some, you could bring that in at this point in time. Okay, But what we could do is add in a little strip of fresh freesia here somewhere along the line. Maybe we just put a little banner behind this one, just so that we've got another sort of little element, a little detail. So just reaching for my stylish shapes. And there's this little teeny tiny banner, which is too short on its own, but we could cut it in half and add that. So let's use this little scrap. This is actually two-sided, the two-tone cardstock in the fresh freesia. So we'll cut a couple of those. See what these little scraps are always really useful to have about, just for this kind of thing. Well, you could have quite easily chucked those out, but actually they're going to come in useful. Okay, so let's just snip those in half. Like so. And I'm just going to add those to the back of these guys. Okay, so I'm just going to use my stamping seal and just attach that at the back there. Looking to get it, oops, even-ish. Cute. Oops. There we go. Sorry, I was concentrating a little bit then because I am creating something on the fly again. And you know what? Your projects don't always go to plan. Right? I don't quite turn out how you envisage them, which is also fine. Okay, right. Let's start putting these together then. Okay, so let's just lift those out of the way. Okay, and we will just use some seal to attach these. So I'm going to get this to about, I don't know, what's that, about ½ inch, and about there. Looking to get that straight-ish. So again, ½ inch. Okay, and then we'll place our flowers, hopefully where we remembered we were going to put them. I think I should have put that a little bit higher, but that's fine. See what I mean? Got to take a picture of what you created, otherwise you don't remember. Oops. So you might want to put extra dimensionals underneath there now that we know that that's where it's going to land. Okay. It's better to put a few on and then, you know, tuck an extra one here and there if you want to. And then this one, something like that. Okay, so I might just tuck another one of these underneath, just to make sure that that doesn't go AWOL. There we go. And then you've got to decide what you want to do with these in terms of whether they need to go up onto some dimensionals. So it feels like we need a dimensional on the top corner of this one, and then we can do some seal to make sure it doesn't become detached. That will help seal on those extra little bits that we've just popped on there. And we've got broken borders. I like broken borders just to sort of tie everything together. They stick better if you take the backing off. There we are. This guy was going to go down here, wasn't it? So I want a couple of dimensionals across the bottom. Take the backings off, and then they stick. And then a bit of seal just to make sure. There we go. That's cool. This one needed to be up a little bit. Right, so from a embellishment point of view, we've got these. Now, I've got quite a lot of yellow going on, so I'm going to stick with the freesia ones. Okay, what are these called? Starburst sequins. I think these are online exclusives. Well, obviously, you know, use what you have, whatever matches your particular colour combination that you've used. Could use a mix of them, I guess, but I'm going to keep mine same colour. And then one up here. Okay, and ideally you don't have a black smudge. Okay, right, so here's the variation that we've made today. Okay, which was all inspired by my crafting snacks in terms of the colour combination that I've used. Okay, these ones with white card bases and bringing in the colour through the layering. These ones with the brighter cardstock. Okay, so completely different looks for each of these cards. Use the larger panel on the back of this one, which I do think I prefer, certainly for this one. Don't mind it on this one, I think it looks nice on this one. So there you go, two ideas to mix and match for your own card making at home. Okay, hope that's been fun. Got a bit of crafting on the fly as we've gone along, but I hope you've enjoyed it. Do stay safe, take care, and we will see you again soon. Bye.